So, welcome to SNACSchool Module 4, Resource Cache Management. This module provides instruction for creating and editing resource management records in SNAC. Resources, in the SNAC context, are finding aids and other descriptive documentation for original archival collections, records, personal papers, works of art, artifacts, etc., and include many types of cultural heritage materials held in a variety of repositories. From your dashboard, you click up in the top menu bar, click Other Entities. Other entities actually should lead you directly to resource descriptions. The choice that is 1, 2, 3, 4 from the left. To create a brand new resource record, click Add New Resource. To search and then edit an existing resource, click Manage Resources. It's important to remember that many descriptive resources found their way into SNAC during the research and development period and the EAD finding aid ingest. This means that a finding aid of interest to you may well already be in SNAC. For this reason, we recommend starting your resource management work with a search of existing resources. So let's start by doing first a search to see what we already have in the system. I guess I don't have any choice. I have to click over to the demo. And then we go to dashboards. See the dashboard that we just left. This is mine. And up in the top, fourth from the left is resources. Click there. Again, we can search for existing resources here. One of them being pardon the delay. A resource for Sadie Tanner Alexander. And that does not find it as I would expect it to. Hold on, please. Actually, let's try with something that we are sure is there, because we know that we have resources for Johnny Quick to See Smith. So you'll notice what comes up in the resources are the two finding aids we had identified and added to Smith's record earlier. From here, you can edit a resource. Again, if you know that changes have been made to a resource, a finding aid, or some other descriptive tool in your shop, you might want to go and edit this, bring it up to date in SNAC, and you can do it from this point. Click here on there's a little edit button, and you have what looks familiar because we did this yesterday, or we did it in we did this in the corporate body example, where you assigned a resource type, a title, the resource link, an abstract, and so on and so forth. It's interesting, though, that this one does not have a language code or a script code added, and we can make that edit here. Once you've made the changes, you can save that resource. And it takes you back to the unedited version of this. Sorry, I'm moving my communication bar around. And then you get all that information, new added information on English and Latin that we just coded in, and the map, the pin drop on the map. And you also have the button to edit the resource. It's important to know at this point that when you're adding resources through this function or editing existing resources in SNAC, there's no review step for resource records. These are records that you have total freedom to add, delete, and edit as you see fit with no review from anyone else in SNAC. I'm going to click back to resources. And one of the examples we like to do in SNACSchool for this module is to show you how to add a new resource that doesn't exist. I'm going to use an example that we have in the past for the Harry Drinkwater photographs documenting Los Angeles art and architecture collection. This is the Getty Research Institute. And here's all the information in that finding aid. Again, you always want to have these types of things open in a new tab and ready to go. In SNAC, I'm going to start a search for Harry Drinkwater. And it doesn't find it. You can also, if you would like, take the entire title, or you can do the link search, very similar to the one that we did when we were adding resource for our person name. And we've determined now that it's not there. It's returning no data available in the table. So we click Add New Resource, and we're given a blank record. This is an archival resource. Oops, I'm going to drop away some of these tabs. Pardon me. Can take the entire title, which almost always includes the dates. Add that there. Again, it has a special field just for date information, so you can add that again there. The ever important link. Add your abstract. Again, scroll down. All right, it's very straightforward. It's interesting to know, and I should point out that there's a little tab at the bottom of this field where you can drag it open a little bit to see more of your text clearly at once. Let's see if they find the extent information. There's more information about the scope, arrangement, certified. Let's see. I didn't see any physical extent. Maybe they don't have it in theirs. Perhaps because it's delivered online, they don't add it. Okay, we don't have, it's not required. It is in English and Latin, and the holding repository is the Getty Research Institute. It has too many T's. There we go. And then save. So the Harry Drinkwater photographs documenting Los Angeles art and architecture finding aid is in SNAC forever. And if you if you're in a position where you're creating entities that relate to or that can be documented or linked to this finding aid, it's already in SNAC for you. That's just one of the ways you can add resources to SNAC. That is it's a very straightforward module. So let's have questions. I know it's very tempting to go and just follow see what are in some of these collections. I know this is being recorded, but I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to my wife, Ellen Simmons, who works at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. Last night in the car on the way to run an errand, I said, I've got to quick think of a new person name example because Snack all of a sudden hates Fannie Lou Hamer. And she said, oh, you should do Jeanne Quick to see Smith. She just died recently, and we have a lot of her collections at SAM. My wife works for SAM. She's a database administrator for their collection system. And so she gets credit for the idea. And it turns out that, of course, Jeanne Quick to see Smith is a very fascinating artist. So, any questions about resources?
I have an might be an obscure question as it came up during yesterday's workshop. Um, when it comes to mass importing resources, I'm curious, just in your experience, if you've encountered folks utilizing, plugins for mass import of resources, especially from folding institutions that have Snack editors, and if there is a way to link those resources in mass to records that are also being mass ingested.
Oh, I would say that, the same way that Snack has developed that plugin for Open
Mhm.
Refine, I don't see why the resource materials or the resources, the finding aids would be any different.
Mhm.
I don't use Open Refine at all, really, so I can't really
Mhm.
speak to the technical ins and outs. I'm imagining that Daniel Pitty can help out with that, and then there's got to be someone else in the cooperative that's experimented with that. I know that in the future we'll need to have a training module that covers how to use Open Refine for mass ingest, not only of authority records but also of finding aids. And I think that would be where you would find your answer. That's not an answer, of course, quickly, but I'd imagine Open Refine is going to be the way they'll go with that.
That's so helpful. Thank you.
Perhaps also in archive space. There's going to be there's a finding aid that exists in archive space, and there's going to be that archive space snack plugin. Then I would imagine it can happen through that as well. I'm sorry, Ia, did you have another question?
No, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Let's talk about merge.